I was all about like thinking the biggest value was in reducing cost. But I changed my mind on that because I saw the data and I saw where really is bringing more value. If you keep your organization the same number, like, so let's say if you were 5 and you stay in 5 within the same organizations, but you 10x the output of each person, now you're delivering insane amount of value to each person. So you're bringing way more revenue. And that's way more valuable, by the way, because you can have the same piece of real estate. The cost the same, but now it's generating a lot more money.
Hi, Adam Gower here, founder of GowerCrowd.com and host of this podcast YouTube series. Today is another of my Demo Day podcasts, showcasing leading AI companies that are revolutionizing the commercial real estate industry. My guests are Jason Lopez and Luca Zambello. Luca is the founder and CEO, correct me if I got that right, Luca, of Jurny, Jurny.com. Jurny is a platform that provides enhanced guest experiences using AI for the hospitality industry. Its origins come from the single-family residence, the STR, short-term rental industry, the Airbnb industry, and they have realized that the technology and the systems that they've developed work exceptionally well for hotels. And what you're going to learn today is that they are looking at some extremely large chains to roll out this technology, and you are going to be seeing a demonstration of the tech. It actually is incredibly intuitive when you see the platform, and it looks like it's really easy to use, really easy to set up, and that you will see some very dramatic increases in revenue, enhanced revenues if you use the platform, as well as enhanced guest experiences. Okay, so that's what we've got in store for you. Now, it is visual. We are going to do on screen. So you're, of course, more than welcome to listen. But if you would like to watch this demonstration, then please go to GowerCrowd.com and hit the podcast link at the top of the page, and you'll find the episode there. And you'll be able to watch it on screen right there at GowerCrowd.com. Of course, if you're not already subscribed to the newsletter, please go ahead while you're at GowerCrowd.com and sign up there. You'll get early notification or first notification of future AI in commercial real estate episodes just like today's. All right. And one last thing before we do move on to actually introducing Luca and Jason is full disclosure. I am actually an investor in Jurny. Oh, and one more final thing. If you do decide that you want to take a demo at Jurny, let me know and I'll make an introduction. They will give you a discount if you come through GowerCrowd. All right, if you decide to sign up. All right, and without further ado, let's move on to today's Demo Day episode with Luca Zambello and Jason Lopez of Jurny, Jurny.com. Coming right up now. Luca, how nice to see you again. Thanks so much for joining me today. Jason, it's good to meet you. Let's kick off right at the very top. Luca, why don't you tell me who you are, what is Jurny, and what does your product do? You actually used a very excellent expression right before we started. Why don't you just repeat that? Anyway, who are you, what's the company, and what do you do?
First of all, thank you for having me again. Great to see you. So, yeah, just quick background about myself. I've been in the hospitality industry for a bit over 12 years right now. I've grown in scale, especially in the short-term rental business, and a company that grew to about 350 listings across 4 different cities in US, kind of in the Airbnb space. And then we started developing more and more software internally to the point that we basically decided and understood that there was some major opportunities to bring some great innovation in hospitality, specifically focused on the automations, AI, and guest experiences, where we saw some of the biggest gaps. And this is what we've been basically focusing on.
Uh,
obviously with the rise of AI and accelerations of technology innovations, it's creating some amazing opportunities and opportunities for disruption.
okay, who is your product? Who is Journey built for?
So we actually have the platform is somewhat modular, right? Like, so we built an entire property managed AI native property management system for the short-term rental industry. But one of the strongest pieces of our system is the guest experience management, which what we call like hyper personalization at scale, right? So up until the past, like personalized experiences for guests, it was very, very hard to do at scale unless you standardize things. So they were not really experiential or tailor-made for each guest. But now with the rise of AI, that's completely changing. And so we decided to decouple that because we saw that applicable to broader than just the short-term rental industry, but in also the hotel industry. Mainly really because it was inbound requests from some pretty big hotel names. And we said like, sounds like a pretty big opportunity. So basically, that's really the two main products that we have.
And what are the problems that people have that your users have that you're solving?
Well, number one, yeah, and like we mentioned offline, we'll focus this more on the hospitality hotel industry, which we also fix for the short-term rental industry. But let's just talk about the what we call the guest experience platform. So number one, the biggest problem we're fixing that goes even beyond automations is centralizations of communications. So hotels have communications and communicate with guests across multiple different channels. It can be through WhatsApp, sometimes text messages, phone calls. If they receive bookings directly from OTAs, like Booking.com, Expedia, and so on, there's guest messaging on those platforms, and those messages get lost. So it's the entire communications, let's say, ecosystem is extremely fragmented. And so the number one thing that we did that goes beyond AI, we just centralized all of that into a single hub of communications. So that's the biggest piece. Number one problem that we're fixing, centralizing everything. That makes things more efficient and more effective on its own. Second piece that we did is we actually attached automations and AI to it, right? And it's not, people talk a lot about AI. We can get a lot more details, but really like what we're talking about agentic AI, which means is really like extremely useful AI that can take actions based on data and can replicate your brand standard that you would normally teach to an employee and have the ability to communicate like that with your guests. And we have ability to leverage that in every levels. So you can go all the way to fully autonomous to just have AI being autonomous just in specific scenarios to having just like an assistant AI for all your employees, where basically every time you have to answer to a guest, you have the context already built in and already there, ready to go. And then the last piece, trying to make a big product like short. The last piece is what we mentioned before, the hyper personalization at scale. This is a problem that even large hotels have. And it's an industry-wide problem, which is like the ability to really personalize and tailor-make experiences to those guests and making additional revenue from these guests without making them feel like you're taking advantage of them or without spamming them with stuff. I'll give a perfect example, right? Like, so let's say that somebody is traveling, they're telling you they're traveling with a car. You might not, like if the AI knows that there is parking, that will automatically say, hey, by the way, we have parking available. This is how, if you want to book it, I'll add it to your reservations. That's additional revenue making in a split second. It knows already if there's availability or not. And that's a perfect example. But you can also have it like with if somebody is traveling for a conference, somebody traveling with a family. There's so much you can attach to it. And humans usually normally don't do it that automatically, but you could now with AI, you can do it. Plus, you can learn repeated patterns and then just make sure that and have predictive behavior. For instance, if you know somebody is traveling for business every year, that same date, the AI will know it and it will anticipate needs of that specific guest. So that's like the last piece, which what we call, that's not necessarily, I would say, the top problem that they have, but when you can do that, you create so much more value. So the first two are problems that we're solving. This one is just massive added value on top of all that.
Okay, so what would be the single most valuable outcome a user gets from using Jurny? What would be their experience?
Massive time saving, resources saving, while doing the opposite of what people think. That when you use technology, they think that actually you're reducing the experience, because everybody says hospitality is made by people, which I 100% agree. But what if those people can now do 10 times what they were able to do before? Now you increase the level of hospitality. So you reduce the amount of resources they need to do the work that they need to do before. You free up the time to do the important things. And so all of a sudden you can make more revenue, have happier guests, and run a more efficient business. So that's a lot of values.
Okay, so somebody who's skeptical of AI or of tech or of Jurny in general, how would you convince them that Jurny is actually useful?
Well, two things. One, we can show the platform and you see it in actions, and we tell people like, try it. If it doesn't pay for itself, then don't worry about it, because it will pay for itself and more, right? Just on the upsell side, it's massive. But the second thing I tell people is that it's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when, and we're not that far away. AI companies that are leveraging AI will completely destroy companies that are not leveraging AI.
Yeah.
That's a matter of fact. We can argue on when it's going to happen, but it's a matter of fact. And if maybe you feel that in specific verticals, which again, it's not our case because you can see our AI in actions, you may feel that it's not there yet, but I guarantee you that it is there, number one. And two, we are not that far away from being very, very disruptive.
Beautiful. Okay, last question. What should viewers be watching for, particularly during the demo, that matters the most to them? What do you want them to keep an eye out for?
Well, I say like just look at the efficiencies that I can bring to your business, and to bring how much additional revenue you're leaving on the table, right? Like, because the point being is, when you are renting or are running or managing a piece of real estate, the piece of real estate remains the same unless you remodel it. The room is the room, and what you can make, obviously, as an average daily rate from that room, it can vary a little bit, yes, but that's only a piece of the revenue that you can make. Guests traveling to you, paying for that room is just a piece of the revenue, right? But many people leave not a humongous amount of revenue completely out, right? So, and the thing is that if I can tell you, oh, you can make an additional 10% of revenue from the same guest, that's not 10% in the end of the year of bottom line. That's like more like 30, 40%, right? Because that's full margins. You're covering your cost already. So that's like a huge deal, and AI can really help you to do that in a full automated way without having to hire staff. And if anything, it can free up time for your existing staff to now elevate the service and give better service to your guests. So that's what I would look out for.
Okay, perfect. Right. So without further ado, let's get on to the show. Jason, you need to come off mute, which you did. Thank you.
Yes.
And let's roll. I'm going to give you the driving seat. I might prompt with some questions as you go along, but go ahead and share your screen, and let's get rolling. So for anybody who is listening to this podcast, I do recommend going to the Gower Crowd the Gower Crowd YouTube channel. Just look up Gower Crowd, or you can find it on the Gower Crowd website. I'll post the video there. All right, over to you, Jason. Go for it.
All right. Thanks, Adam. So I'm really excited to share some of the platform here with you today. Luca talked about a lot of really exciting things that we can do with AI, and I'm going to show you in practice what that actually looks like. What you're looking at here, and maybe I can zoom in a little bit for you.
Yeah, a little bit. It's very tiny on the screen.
Yep. Sorry about that. Is that better?
Yep. That's perfect.
Great. So what you're looking at here is our universal inbox. This is really exciting, I think, on the hospitality side specifically, because a lot of the operators that we speak to, they tell us that they have a lot of messaging channels that they're trying to manage, and they have no centralized way of actually managing those, right? If guests are communicating with them through Booking.com, through Expedia, through hotels, those are 3 different extranets that they have to log into just to manage communications. I'm sure people listening today have probably had an experience where they reached out to a hotel, maybe via email or an OTA, and never heard back. That's a pretty common experience, and it's because of that they have to log into a bunch of different places just to manage those comms. So this is really exciting because it centralizes all of their communications in one dashboard, a single pane of glass where you can manage all of the interactions with your guests. It doesn't matter if they're coming through an OTA, like Booking.com or Expedia, or if they booked direct and you're communicating with them via email or text message or WhatsApp, or even like a chat plugin on a direct booking website. So it's centralizing all of the communications. And then that allows us to do a lot of really cool things with AI to simplify and streamline operations so that these operators can earn more revenue without increasing headcount or overhead. So the first thing that I'll call out here is we're doing a sentiment analysis on every thread. So you'll notice that this one here, that's me actually, Jason. You'll see it has a yellow line above it. That means that this thread, there's a medium urgency attached to this for some reason, right? And there's high, medium, and low urgency. So a low urgency situation would be like, I need some extra towels. A high urgency situation would be, help, there's a leak and there's water all over the bathroom and it's not stopping, right? So this helps you just from a high level understand what needs your attention right away, and make sure that you're getting to those things quickly. The other thing you'll notice is that the AI is tagging all of these threads. This is happening totally autonomously for us. So if we want to know whenever a guest has an amenity request, or whenever they request a late checkout, or if they're asking about parking on premises, or gym hours, anything like that, we can create these tags. They're customizable, and then the AI will automatically tag any thread that it matches. So that allows you to just keep tabs on not only what's urgent, but also what are guests communicating about without even having to actually click into one of these threads. If you do click into a thread, you'll notice that at the very top, you have a sentiment analysis for this interaction with this guest. So before I even read any of the exchange here with this guest, I know that they're having a neutral experience. It could be better, but it also could be worse. So we have some work to do to make up the experience, but again, could be worse, right? And then as I scroll through here, you'll notice some of these, you'll see all of the interactions here, and you'll see some purple bubbles towards the top. Here we go. So you'll see some communications here, which are communications between the AI and the guest. And so the AI can autonomously handle all kinds of different interactions with guests. That is primarily set up through the FAQs that you're seeing here. So this basically is a way for you to create a knowledge base for the AI to be able to handle any type of request that the guest might throw your way, right? What time is check-in? What time is checkout? Can I extend my stay? What time does the gym open? What are the pool hours? Can I make a reservation in the restaurant? Anything like that, that can be set up here as an FAQ. The really powerful thing about this is when we first rolled this out, we were really excited about it, and we quickly realized that getting people to create these FAQs is a challenge from scratch, right? So then we started thinking, okay, how can we make this easier for folks? So what we do is we take any past communications that you might have from other, communication channels, and we create a starting point from there, a starting knowledge base. And then as you continue to use this inbox to communicate through this, the AI continues to learn and adapt based on ongoing communications. And it will also mirror the style of your past communication so that it will, from day one, communicate on brand with your communication preferences. So it's very simple to set up from that regard, because we, again, had that experience of setting up that initial setup. Now it's literally like one click in in an hour, you can really be set up with an automated knowledge base that is personalized and tailored to you in your brand voice, which is very powerful.
Yeah, and hotels that have even training guides or anything like that, you could literally throw any type of documentations, and the AI would just like read it, study it, and then add it to its knowledge, and then being able to replicate and follow your specific style of communications, brand guides, anything like that. And then we also have the options where when the people don't feel like fully comfortable to have like AI running fully autonomous right away, we have a system mode, which this is a massive time saver on its own. People don't realize how long will it actually take you each time to just compose a message, retrieve the information, just go look. Which guest is that? How long is it staying? How much did it pay? Like just having the message already there, already written with the answers to the questions without you having to look it up. Like, do you have any availability for parking? Do you have like, can I extend my stays? Whatever question there is, you go there, you have already drafted answer. And if you do edit the answer, we learn from those edits as well. So, which is pretty phenomenal. And then also some hotels we have they set this up in a way where, and it also in the short-term rental as well, where only for the off hours. So there's like maybe they have peak hours where there's only one person in the front desk, but there's several people checking in, and then that person is just busy doing check-ins. What it would do is like it would just go and be autonomous just on those hours, so it would help the on-ground personnel, or sometimes during off hours. Like, so for example, if it's night shift or something like that, then you have limited personnel, but then AI can support you there as well, all the way to just running full autonomously.
And this communicates with customers and with guests, doesn't it? So I remember the last time we spoke, Luca, if somebody sends a text message or something, you can respond to that, etc. So it will communicate in whatever way the guest chooses to communicate.
All channels, and we centralize them all into a single place. All channels by text and voice. We have voice as well. Like right now, it's limited availability. Like we only release it to specific customers upon request. It's not we don't just give it out because it takes some work on our end to set up properly. But there's also voice, so like it can literally do 360 degrees coverage on any channel of communications. The only one that they won't cover is the front desk, which we don't want to, right? Like you're a hospitality company, you want to have, if you have the ability to do it, you want to have people greeting people in the front. And actually, if anything, you want to free their time to be able to give the face-to-face and make sure that you have the best, you can afford the best personnel possible to have there, because that's what's going to dictate a lot of their first impression with your brand.
Okay,
you don't want them to pick up phone calls. And I don't know how
that's
many
right, exactly. When you're trying to check in.
Yes, I don't know how many hotels I've checked in that they're like about to check in. It's like, oh, excuse me 1 second, sir. And then they take out the phone. It's the worst experience ever.
All right, go ahead, Jason. You were doing some stuff on the screen while Luca was talking. What do we got here?
Yeah. Well, I was showing actually what Luca was talking through. So these are the different modes here. So you have full control over how you set this up. If most people will start on the assisted response mode. What we see is that usually after a month or two, they'll switch it to full autonomous. They realize, okay, this is pretty good once it's set up properly. And actually, I'll give you guys a quick metric on this. So this system, the knowledge-based system, and the automated AI that we're using in the platform, we're using ourselves internally for our support team as well. So when our customers submit tickets to us, it's the same exact system, just with a different knowledge base. It's finding the answer, and it's responding to our customers. And that system, we obviously maintain it very well, but it's upwards of 95% of our tickets are automated through that system. So if you take 100% of your communications that you're probably getting as a hotel operator right now, and you reduce that down to maybe 5% that you have to actually manage yourself, it starts to really change, what the roles look like in these organizations. So
okay, let's go through some of the high value spots. I mean, not that this isn't high value, but let's dig in a little deeper.
Yeah, let's come over to the upsells. This is very powerful here. And so when we talk about additional revenue per guest, this is the engine behind that we're talking about. And so this is a fully customizable upsell engine, and there's a lot really to cover here. So I'll try to go pretty quickly, but we have some templates available here that our users can choose from. They can create from scratch as well. They can use AI to create these. So if you have, I don't know, a hotel in Dubai and you do Ferrari experiences, let's say Ferrari driving experience, and the AI will literally start building out the upsell for you. The upsell name, the upsell description. I can, of course, give it more detail, and it would be more detailed in that case. I can upload an image, or I can use Nano Banana here to go ahead and generate an image for me.
Okay.
And while that's working its magic, I'll show you some of the other settings here. So this is where you can actually configure the upsell. And the important thing here is that the upsells are very, very flexible in how they're configured. So they can be priced at a fixed price, a percentage of the booking, a percentage of the nightly rate, per person rate, or per person per night. So you can get very creative on how you're going to charge for the upsells that you offer. That's number one. Down below, we have many different automation settings and triggers that you can choose from. So these are triggers that can be set up based on maybe where the guest is in their journey. So for example, maybe it's one day before check-in, or maybe it's one day before checkout, something like that. They can also be set up around different events. So I showed you in the inbox how we do the sentiment analysis and all of that. And the reason that I pointed that out is because you can also use that here in the upsells. So let's say you have a guest that is not having the best experience, and we know that based on the sentiment analysis. It would be a little bit insensitive to try to upsell them something if they're having a poor experience, right? But maybe you want to offer them a late checkout or something else that you want to comp to try to turn the experience around for them. And so you can use that sentiment analysis as a trigger in these upsells as well. So that's also very powerful. And then another really cool thing about this here is, let's see if it finished there's our Ferrari. So that's beautiful. I'm going to apply that. I'd love to drive this on this highway here. And the other really powerful thing here about the upsell engine is that it's contextual with whatever the guest is communicating. The AI has context for the upsells in the communication inbox. And what I mean by that is, if you have an upsell for a spa package and the guest happens to ask, hey, do you guys have a spa on site? It can offer those upsells to the guest. So it's smart enough to know that, yes, I have those upsells to offer.
Okay.
So, and what I'm trying to say is that once you set this up, like basically AI will, and based on how you set up and based on your style of as a brand, right? Like AI will know how to offer it in them the best moments possible. And on top of that, I mean, of course, if you say you must offer this to every guest, AI will do it. but it will contextualize it. So you will not feel like you've just got like a random automated message. It will be fully contextualized to what you just wrote, right? And if you're saying, hey, and if this is, I guess, does not have a good experience, like Jason said, it can take sentiments in considerations, it can take length of stays, like basically infinite amount of details, which that means personalizations, right? That means what it feels like, that things are not out of touch, right? There's nothing worse than feeling that things are just out of touch. So which means that you translate it, means you can make more money while increasing the guest experience, which is a big deal, right? You don't want to make more money while decreasing guest experience. Your fees out of nowhere will decrease guest experience. That's a way to make money from your guests. They will feel used. When you instead anticipate their needs, that's a very different experience.
All right, what we got here, Jason? We're still on the upsell page.
Yep. So these are just some more triggers here, and some other configuration options here. Full inventory management. So if it's a limited item, that can be accommodated as well. So again, very powerful upsell engine. And the reason this is so exciting, that I find it exciting in particular, is when I speak to operators and I ask, why, when they tell me they aren't doing upsells, or maybe they aren't doing, they aren't upselling as much as they feel like they could. The biggest reason that I hear is because it's just too laborious. It takes too much time to coordinate with housekeeping, a late checkout or an early check-in. A lot of times they don't even want to charge for something like that. It's too laborious to coordinate with the restaurant or with the spa on site, or other situations like that. And so this really tackles that head on and unlocks the technology to be a revenue center for these operators.
Okay.
All right. So aside from that, another thing that we can automate here with the AI is the review management. And so this is really nice because it gives operators and management companies insights into how they're performing. And so in this case, we're seeing here on a timeline how many reviews we've gotten, how we're performing over time. We can see the channels that those reviews are coming from. And we can see usually popular keywords, positive and negative keywords here. And so the nice thing is if this was populated with keywords, I'd be able to click those to see the actual reviews. Let me see if I have any here. So I only have one review on this account. That's why we're not seeing any. But I'd see the actual review and I'd see the keywords associated to that. So what that does is it allows me as an organization to understand where we really delivering on our promise and where are we falling short? How can we do better? At a very high level. So,
okay.
And this is like translating in practical. It's like having this is infinitely scalable, right? Like, so if you have like 40 hotels, you can scale this across 40 hotels. But it's also infinitely scalable in the small, meaning like if you have a 30 units, 40 units hotel, where it wouldn't make any sense to have a concierge, make any sense to have like a lot of personnel to handle all of this. This now can be all fully automated, right? And it also can be consistent across properties. So if you want to have knowledge about a specific guest that stayed into two different properties, we're also bringing solutions to basically centralize information about that guest independently from which property they stay, and then leverage those informations even for automated marketing or things like that. So it's a pretty big deal.
Okay. All right. What else do you want to show us, Jason?
Yeah, and then probably one more exciting thing here that I can show is the Copilot. So this is a voice-activated assistant. I'm going to go ahead and activate this.
Do you have a name for this thing?
It's called Nia. Yep, NIA.
Nia. Okay.
Were you able to hear that?
No, actually. So you're going to have to articulate that. When you screen share, you got to select share sound, but that's okay. Just tell us, what is it saying?
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So it's basically I can type with it too, but any question that I have about the platform, how do I do something? How do I get somewhere? The AI can answer that. It can even take actions for me. So that's really exciting because it's also available on our mobile app. You can, put on your GM hat and think, okay, this platform looks great, but I'm walking the property all day, right? How do I interact with this? I'm not sitting at my desk all day to use this system. Well, you can open up the app and you can actually use this voice activated AI assistant and just give it voice commands. You can answer messages. You can get summaries on messages. You can ask it to make calendar events or calendar blocks, make reservations through there.
Maintenance requests.
Coming soon is maintenance requests. That's what I was looking at.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Exactly. So very powerful tool for again, if you think about a typical GM that spends most of their day out on the property, that's the perfect solution for them to be able to leverage a tool like this from their pocket.
Okay. So when you see these communications coming in, you tag them, and one of them might say maintenance. You got a couple of tags. One of these has 2 tags. I think it was on your name. Yeah, there you go. And so you got booking modification. You've also got amenity request, or maybe you talked about a leaky shower or something. So if somebody does leave a message like that in some way, presumably that's automatically routed to maintenance teams, right? It distinguishes what the requests are and sends those out to the relevant teams at the hotel.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can actually take a full SOP, whatever the SOP is for a given situation, and train the AI on that. To follow that SOP exactly. So let's say, the leak is a perfect example. We have a maintenance person on site, that the notification about that leak comes in. Maybe we want to first troubleshoot with the guest, or maybe we just want to send maintenance right away, right? Depending on the urgency that the guest is communicating to us. And so all of that entire SOP can be automated so that once the guest reports it, there's no middleman. It just gets to the maintenance person right away.
And so go ahead.
No, and the amazing thing is that usually hotels have SOPs already written out, right? Because they have, especially if you're having someone who's new, doesn't know what to do when there's a leak. You have that written out somewhere, and you can just literally take this documentation, just dump it into the system, and the system will digest it and then learn from it. So that's a amazing thing that is easier than training a person, because you can just literally just give it once and it will learn from all of it.
Okay. And then I remember when we were talking, so last year when we first spoke, your focus was on short-term rentals, Airbnb style. And there were certain functions in that were, what I remember of that was just super cool. Like somebody arrives early to a location. And I noticed on one screen you had, where's a good Italian restaurant? Of course, there's got to be a good Italian restaurant, not a good English restaurant. Nobody ever asked for a good English restaurant. What can I tell you? So somebody arrives early and they start communicating. The system can automate all communication, can't it? Can you just run through how that works from the guest experience? And actually, I would like to put it in the context of what we talked about last year. I know that we're focusing on hotels, more in this conversation. But there were some very cool things that you did with STRs and have learned, can apply to hotels as well. Like somebody arriving early and not knowing where to go. And as I recall, I think you said they might send a text message. And Nia can respond and, okay, so you're a bit early. You can leave your bags here. We'll get your room where we'll let you know. And are you hungry? Right? We've got some recommended, but it feels entirely human and natural, doesn't it? So can you just walk through that from the guest experience? Because I found that to be very, very powerful.
Yeah,
And how
yeah,
does that work
absolutely.
inside the dashboard as well? Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a couple of things that are kind of working together to make that happen. So the first thing that I guess we should talk about is the agents that are working in the background. I can't really show you anything with the agent. Oh, actually, yes, I can. I'm sorry. So if I come over here to test Nia, I'm just gonna. This is basically like a sandbox that we built that lets users kind of experiment a little bit and see, how do different communication styles and instructions how do they actually perform? So I'm going to just give this a really simple question, like what time is check-in? I'm even going to misspell it. But the reason that I did that is not so much so that you can see what it answers, but more so that you can see the thought process that it's going through here. So you can literally see what Nia is doing. And you actually saw it there on your screen for a second, that it was consulting another agent. So what we built actually years ago, before agents were popular, we built a network of agents within the system because we quickly realized when we started implementing AI that it's very good at a narrow task with specific instructions, but once you give it too much, it starts to kind of go off the rails. And our solution to that was specialized agents. So we have about a dozen agents in the platform that do different things, like upsells, communication style, just tonality, checking property information like amenities, check-in time, checkout time, availability, pricing. And all of these agents work together with an orchestrator, think of it like a manager, that delegates tasks to those agents as needed. And so what you just saw there using this is how that actually works.
Exactly. And then that's how we are. Like, for example, like there's like, for example, like guidebooks section on the system that we haven't shown you, for example. And so that's one of the resources that these different agents have. So one agent is specialized on localized experiences, right? Like, so number one will go through your hotel guidebook. So whatever recommendations and things that you have locally, it will go through those so that it will recommend those first. And then if it doesn't have enough, for example, it will go, if enable, it has the ability to go literally and do a Google search, local Google search, see what restaurants are available, what places are available, and really take initiative on its own to be like, hey,
Can you make a reservation as well?
Well, it could, but it has to be enabled to do that, to do so.
Okay.
So, for example, if you have a restaurant on site, then you can. Yes. We didn't enable full on making reservations on outside of this, but I mean, it will
It's
count.
fine. I
Like
was just curious. Yeah.
there wouldn't be. Let's put it like this. Right now, there is not a thing that a computer can do, a person can do on a computer or a phone that AI cannot do. So if we have a special request from a specific management company, if they're large enough and it makes sense to do full customization, we can customize the system to them, and it doesn't take that long even to do it. It's pretty incredible.
So, how do people normally communicate? Do they pick up the phone? Do they text? How are you finding guests interacting differently, if at all, when you have Jurny in place versus how they might communicate without Jurny?
Well, it's a very different answer for even within the same country, because it really depends on the type of hotels, the type of assets you're selling, where, if it's urban, it's like in, I don't know, Miami, I take as a city, is a lot of young people that nobody picks up the phone. The young people, they all text, like the younger generations, right? Like, and then we stay in Florida and then we go to Tampa, then you probably have a lot more people calling you. Just the age of people who travel in those two cities. Although they're in Florida, it's
But
very
if somebody calls in, you could set this up so that the person on the other line at the other end is actually Nia, right? Nia.
Yeah. It's Nia. Like, you can have Nia handling all channels. And then the way we do it, especially if managers want, you can escalate at any moment. You know you're talking to an AI because we have to tell you. But if we were not to tell you, I don't know if you would know, to be honest. When people are writing or texting, they don't know. That's the reality. But if they're talking on the phone, we just say, I'm AI assistant, but if you want to talk to a human at any moment, just tell me and I'll pass the line. But 80% of calls don't want to talk to a human. They just want the problem fixed on the line. A quick question.
Yeah.
That's the thing, that 80% of the volume is things that are not super important. But that's what makes people busy. It's a 80-20 rules, like that 20% bring 80% of the value and vice versa. You have 80% of the noise that it's not really impacting the customers, and they just want things fixed fast. And then you have 20% that is extremely important, and maybe you want to have a human touch there, or you still want to have a human's oversight. But that's the other thing, you can fully customize all of it.
All right, so let's take a look at this. Jason has been logging in here with his LastPass. Anyone not using LastPass is definitely behind the curve. So also, but anyway, go ahead. So what are we looking at here, Jason? This is kind of Nia voice, it says over here.
Yep, exactly. So you were asking about, can Nia pick up the phone? It can, and can actually make reservations, just like a reservation agent, can answer questions about the property, can answer questions about an existing reservation, and even modify existing reservations too. So super powerful. Pretty much anything that that could be answered via text through the inbox can also be answered through this phone system. And so it can be customized here. You can give it a name so that it'll greet guests that are calling in however you like, you want it to greet them. You can configure notification emails here. Phone numbers are purchasable, so they're you can just purchase a phone number here. I think there are a couple dollars. You can search by area code for that, and they can be assigned to different properties. And then over here on the call transcripts, you can see all of the logs. So these are all of the folks that are calling. If I click on one of these, you can see the number that called. You can see the date, the status, the property that they called about. The sentiment was a positive sentiment. The outcome of this call, and the full transcript as well. So, and actually, I think they started in English and then they switched to Spanish. So you can see it's multilingual, 35 plus languages. It can seamlessly just switch between.
And then also, I presume there is either an automated function or an on-request function to transfer to human.
Yeah, they just have to mention it. It would literally say, first of all, it sounds like a human. So if it wouldn't tell you, you wouldn't know. But it would say hey, do you, by the way, at any moment, if you want to speak with humans, just let me know. I'll transfer the call.
And how quick is the response? Is it immediate?
Yeah,
I tried some bots and it was just a terrible delay. But that was a year ago since I actually started. We did some deep research. How long does it take to set up this whole system? When a client comes in, it looks like there's a process for setting everything up and getting it all customized, basically, to your hotel. So what's the process for how long does it take?
No, it's a great question. And there's not a super easy answer. What it means is that it's actually very easy to set up for beginner's mode. Let's put it that way. We ingest all the information from your existing PMS. We can integrate, even if you have a proprietary system, we'll integrate to your PMS. And again, I'm talking about the hotel
PMS,
the hotel space. Yeah, property management system. So if you're running, I don't know, if you're on Opera, for example, which is a big one, we're integrated with Opera. It's literally like a 5-click process to integrate. And then we're integrated. Of course, if you have phone lines, things like that takes a little bit of setup. But in less than a week, you can be up and running. And you can be up and running with existing upsells as well. And then we have our team that can help you set up things, ingest data, and have the AI running. But then if you want to take really things like to the next level, be like, really, how can I maximize revenue of my property? That takes a little bit more work, right? But the reality is that's where hotels should allocate the resources. So you should free up your time from the busy day to day that brings this is an essential but doesn't bring any additional value to your guests, right? If you don't do it, you don't running a business, but now you can really have AI doing it and start having people and stuff that can focus solely on optimizing this AI system within your business. So you go from basically just making efficiency in your business to bring some additional revenue to bring your business to a whole new level. So it's like buying a Ferrari. We'll go back to the Ferrari, maybe because I'm Italian, but you can buy a Ferrari and you have a nice car. It's a nice car. It can go fast. Absolutely. But there's a difference between just buying a Ferrari just to buy it or knowing how to drive one. For real, right?
Yeah.
What can the car do, really, right? Like you can use it and it looks nice. People will be like, oh, that's nice. Or you can really leverage it, right? Like, and our system is really very much like that because if you leverage it, it can do so much more than people even expect that it could do by just putting in the efforts. And it's only meant to do more and more and more and more because AI is getting just more powerful by the day.
I'm going to jump in with something. We do need to wrap up, actually. I just noticed, as it's typical of these calls. I thought we'd been going for like 20 minutes and we're running out of time. We're actually almost at an hour. So let's definitely start moving towards wrapping up.
Yes.
And so I'm going to ask some questions, but I am going to kind of go back to your origins. I know you wanted to focus on hotels today, and I'm very, very happy to do that. But I do remember when we spoke a year or so ago, one of the amazing statistics you gave me, Luca, was that typical individual can manage 5 Airbnbs on their own, right? And then they start maxing out the need to hire. With Jurny at the time, you said they can manage 50 units, and that in time, one person could manage 200 units with all these agents and with Jurny, leveraging the Jurny platform. Mind blowing. What is the, how would you, I mean, I assume that's how you've evolved, and are now moving more solidly towards, the hotel industry. So what's on the map, for 2026? What should, hoteliers be thinking about, for 26, coming from Jurny?
Yeah, and I can tell you, I did change my answer a little bit. What I mean is that I was all about like thinking that the biggest value was in reducing cost, but I changed my mind on that, but not because or anything, it's because I saw the data and I saw where really is bringing more value. What I've seen is that if you keep your organization the same number, like, so let's say if you were 5 and you stay in 5 within the same organizations, but you 10x the output of each person. Now you're delivering insane amount of value to each person, like to each guest. So you're bringing way more revenue. And that's way more valuable, by the way, because you can have the same piece of real estate. The cost the same, then now it's generating a lot more money. And now you have a brand that is like way more valuable all of a sudden, because of your brand and because of how you're running your brand, now you bring in a much bigger net operating profit, NOI to your properties, right? So as a management company, now all of a sudden you're winning more business because you're bringing a lot more profit. So there's the cost saving is good, but it's much bigger the fact that you're creating better guest experiences, more brand loyalty, and you're making the business more profitable.
Okay, and I shouldn't ask the question that I'm going to ask now without knowing the answer before, because I don't want to put you on the spot again. But presumably you can also grant access to Jurny, or different levels of access to different staff members. So I was thinking, my question actually was, does it need one person to run this? Or how does it work from a staffing perspective? How does your staff interact with this system? For example, your maintenance people don't need to know about reservations. They just need to know there's a leaky shower in room
Correct.
617 or whatever.
Well, we integrate with modules, different even external modules. So sometimes, like for example, people would have a third-party app just to manage all of that. Although we're developing something that I don't know. Maybe we cut this part out that we're developing our own internal one. But there's because it's with AI, it can be like really fully automated. But just think about it as in like if you have a third party app that manages your cleaning, now we can open tickets directly on that app using AI.
I see. And then that goes to the relevant people.
And then it goes to the relevant people. But there's also verticals that obviously we can give limited access within it.
Like housekeeping or something.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like guest management, right? Like for front desk or whatever that is. But there's one question that I wanted to answer that you asked, like what's coming, and I think we mentioned briefly. Well, obviously the part that we said about the full automations of creations of tickets and scheduling and all of that, which part of it is already automated, but we're really completely automating that part. But the biggest one is a full interactive AI CRM. So there is an existing CRM already in the system, but it's very limited. What's coming though is that we're going to be tracking every single guest has ever stayed with you. You will know everything about that guest that has ever mentioned, right? It's super powerful. You will remember a guest after he stayed with you just once 3 years ago, and you will say, "Welcome back, Steve." And then Steve is going to be like, "Man, how do they even remember that I came back and I stayed with that?" Or maybe he even forgot, but now he remembers, right? Like that type of stuff, it's super valuable. We will know, did they come for their, I don't know, like anniversary? We'll remind them, like, hey, by the way, we want to give you for happy anniversary, we want to give you 30% off for your next stay. Happy birthday, 20% off for your next stay. Remember all of that, and across, if you want to, right? It's all dependent on users, but across any property. If you're a management company or a brand that has tens of properties or hundreds of properties, now you can remember across all of this. And giving this power, by the way, to now even small organizations, it's massive. This is what we call hyper-personalization at scale, and what we think is one of the biggest things that is coming in hospitality in 2026 and beyond.
Thank you. All right, let's wrap up with some final questions, if you don't mind. So, do you have any, so you mentioned 10% to the bottom line. You can add 10%, which actually does go straight to the bottom line because it's all incremental income. But what are you actually seeing in terms of numbers? If somebody's listening, everybody wants to know, okay, what's the ROI on this? So what can you give me some numbers that you're actually seeing in the wild?
Yeah, we've seen it all the way up to like over 30% additional revenue just on the upsell side alone. Minus the fact that, again, I don't like to quantify the money saving, but there's massive money savings on the guest experience and the back end office. There's huge amount of people that working on there. And I don't like to say that we replace people because we don't, but I like to say that we free up people to actually do what matters and elevate experiences.
Okay. Curious, it's definitely not politically correct to say that it saves on manpower, but it's okay to even suggest that. I think it's okay to do that, especially going forward. So what scale of, so we are moving into the wrap up here. We need to do that. But what scale of hotel are you ready for? As I mentioned before, I want to make some intros for you. So if somebody came through the door, what are you actually ready for now, or are we looking at rollout of systems over the next few months?
Well, so we initially, as you know, like we initially targeted like short-term rental boutique hotels. That's what we were focusing on.
Okay.
But now we had inbound demand from some big brands. I can't share the names because it's too early to share the names, but we are running pilots with pretty big names, and they're very, very happy. So,
And what kind of scale? You can't give me names, but what are you looking at in terms of number of hotels, number of
even
keys?
hundreds of thousands of units, not hundreds of thousands of keys.
Okay, so what
Single
is
operator.
really how many
Yes.
how many keys?
Even in the hundreds of thousands.
Pricing and pricing. So how are you pricing this?
It's actually, well, it varies. It really depends on the solutions. But for the hotels, like we have the pretty affordable entry price. But again, like if somebody's coming with 10,000 keys, 20,000 keys, it's gonna have a different price than
You have a
somebody's
different
coming
discussion, right?
with 50 keys, right? So, but
Okay.
it can be as around $7 per key.
Oh, okay. And that's $7
7 to $10 per keys in the hotels, again for
per
the
month. Per month.
per month. Yeah, and the entry package,
Okay.
which is basically nothing because it will pay it themselves. And then there's some transactional fees on the upsells, so we make about 5%.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And okay, so we just did a demo live, but for somebody who is interested in learning more about Jurny, what's the best way? How would you like them to contact you? What's the best way to do that?
jurny.com, which is our website, but they can find me on me or Jason on LinkedIn. We're very active on LinkedIn. Luca Zambello and Jason Lopez.
And we've got a book a demo here on the website. So is that a good thing to click? It's like the first.
It's a very good thing to click.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up there. Give me a minute or two once we stop recording. But for now, Jason Lopez and Luca Zambello, super nice to see you again. Thank you so very much for your time today.
Nice to see you, and thank you for having us.
Thanks, Adam.
All right. That was Luca Zambello and Jason Lopez. Thank you both very much indeed. Of Jurny, I should say, of Jurny.com, Jurny, Jurny.com. Amazing platform. I've seen them develop over the last, at least over the last year. I mean, it's really incredible how fast you guys are growing and the successes that you're having. It's incredible. It's not only is it amazing to see, it's also inspirational. So congratulations to you. Cannot wait to see what is coming in 2026. And thank you for joining me. And thank you to also, dear viewers, thanks for joining. It is fascinating, isn't it? The world that AI, how the world is changing with AI. You've really got to see this thing in action. I do strongly recommend that you give them a call and take a demo and try it. See if you can set it up and see how it will impact your bottom line and also your guest experiences. Like I said at the beginning, if you do call them, go ahead and let them know that you heard about them through GowerCrowd. They'll give you a discount. Or if you would like a personal introduction, just let me know. I'd be happy to make an email introduction for you personally. Okay, that is, one more thing. If you have not already, I have to say this, right? You've got to have a call to action. If you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, just go to GowerCrowd.com. You find the podcast page over there as well with the video of today's show, the audio and a written description. But while you're there, go ahead and subscribe to the newsletter. It's totally free. You can always unsubscribe. Okay, that is all I've got for this week's episode. Thank you again for joining me. Until next time, this is Adam Gower signing off.